Welcome to the program, everyone. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. All right, we got a lot going on, a lot to talk about. Mitch McConnell resigning today as the Republican leader. And I'm telling you right now, Trump has fired Mitch McConnell. He's stepping down as the Republican Senate leader. He's going to finish out his term, and he's already talking about not running for re-election. And that is the same week that President Trump got rid of Ronna McDaniel heading up the RNC. And what Trump is doing, he is cleaning house of the Republican establishment. We got rid of Kevin McCarthy, Mitch McConnell, Ronna McDaniel. I mean, that's it. And, you know, President Trump, his support is larger than we realize. I mean, we know he's got massive support. But I should say not his support, but his power inside the Republican Party is larger than we realize.
When is he up for re-election, Mitch McConnell?
Oh, like next year. He's got a long time left. But
so I'm wondering if he's going to retire, like if he sees the writing on the wall, and because somebody like that would retire before he
in 2026 is when he's up for re-election.
Okay, so he's got a couple years.
But I don't think he'll finish out his term. I think he'll end up resigning. At some point, he's got to do it in pieces here. It's all a big thing to swallow. And what's happened here, I was telling you when this happened last week, is when President Trump and the Trump family have taken over the RNC. That's why Lara Trump is heading over there to run the joint. The RNC is the entire power center of the Republican establishment in the party. They do all the fundraising. They have all the money. And they decide who gets campaign money and who doesn't, not just in Congress, but governors and even local and state elections, okay? The RNC is where all the power has been in the Republican establishment, all right? And President Trump took it over. And what he did is he's broken the Republican establishment. If you remember when he first started his new campaign, he said, don't donate to the Republican Party. Don't donate to the RNC. Donate to me. Go to donaldjtrump.com to donate to me. And that's why the RNC is really on the verge of bankruptcy. They've been defaulting on things. They've run into a lot of financial difficulties. So Trump has broken the Republican establishment. And how they got Mitch to do this, I don't know. Maybe President Trump, let him know that they'll out him as a Chinese agent. I don't know. But China's got to find a new asset. And Elaine Chao, maybe she'll end up going back to China. I don't know, because mission accomplished. She's got, you know what I mean? Her spy work will be. But this is huge stuff. Now, let me go through this a little bit. This is the story on Mitch. A tearful Mitch McConnell announced he's stepping down in a tearful Senate speech. He says it's been particularly difficult after the death of his sister-in-law. Remember that car accident? He says, I turned 82 last week. The end of my contributions are closer than I would prefer. Father Time remains undefeated. I am no longer the young man sitting in the back, hoping colleagues will remember my name, said the longtime leader. It's time for the next generation of leadership, a teary-eyed McConnell declared. These guys never resign. If you remember, John McCain went there when he had a brain tumor and like days to live to vote on the Obamacare thing.
Look at Dianne Feinstein.
Exactly. Or look on the Supreme Court. You see, Ginsburg. I mean, she was comatose.
Well, it's either his health. It's
not his health. It's Trump. Trump got rid of him.
A combination. Or somebody has made it worth his while to do this. They're going with this whole theme of age. Yeah. It's a big theme right now. And the fact that he's talks about his age so much is interesting to me. When they keep talking about that with Trump and Biden and the next generation and all this stuff. So whatever the reason is, how do they choose the next one? The leader of the Senate GOP?
They'll vote on it like they do for the speaker. Right. It's a similar process.
So
it's not as involved because
I'd like Bill Nelson. I'm voting for him.
No. Bill Nelson's a Democrat. He's not.
Rick Nelson.
Well,
I'm thinking. Oh my gosh.
You mean like from Ozzie and Harriet?
No. Rick Scott.
Rick Scott. Yes, our senator.
Okay. Bill Nelson is who he beat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
speaking of getting old,
Rick Scott is one of the senators from Florida. He was the governor of Florida before DeSanctimonious.
Yeah, he's really good.
Yeah, he's very good. And he's also, by the way, Rick Scott, he's a self-made multi-millionaire.
Yeah, very smart.
He's also in charge. You know what? And it's interesting you say that because it's I don't know who's. I mean,
that would be fantastic.
But he is in charge of the Senate campaign funding. Okay, so I don't know, maybe, but I'll tell you this: Donald Trump has broken the Republican establishment between the RNC, Ronna McDaniel, Kevin McCarthy, and now Mitch McConnell, and that's absolutely amazing. And not only did it happen right after, Ronna McDaniel, it happened the day after his Michigan victory. President Trump received 68% of the vote in Michigan yesterday.
Speaking of that, I just retweeted something I want you to play. Lee Zeldin, who we all love, was on CNN with their panel of crackpot liberals. And do you see that retweet that I just tweeted?
Yeah, I'll pull it up.
Michigan, play that. It looks good.
I'll pull it up. I don't know what it is.
Speaking of Michigan,
but I'll play it. But President Trump won 68% of the vote in Michigan last night, which is amazing.
There's a big enthusiasm gap. If you look right now, there's 27% of the vote in between the Democratic turnout, the Republican turnout. The Republican turnout is right now far trouncing the Democratic turnout, and that's the percentage of the total vote that we're waiting to come in. It'll be interesting to see what comes in from Wayne County. Yes, I get that. But President Trump's number at the moment is actually more than all of the Democratic Party primary voters together. So I would say that President Trump, when looking at the amount of people who are coming out to vote for him tonight, would be very encouraged by the amount of votes that he is getting compared to all the Democrats who have shown up.
We got to go.
Yeah, we got to take a
so he
unscheduled emergency break.
The toilets are clogged. He basically was saying that he thinks he can get Michigan and flip it red. Is basically what he said.
It shows how depressed the Democrat vote turnout is.
There's no excitement. No, there's no excitement. And that really does affect an election. Trump has momentum. People love a comeback. He's got excitement. There's a lot of young people excited about him. The country's in such a bad place. And Biden is so bad that people just cannot fathom the idea of another 4 years of this guy. I mean, things are so bad as it is. They're like, well, what's going to happen if this guy's in another 4 years? And I think his health and his stumbling around and losing his train of thought like I just did. But, I think doing that on camera, I'm not president, but doing that on camera and his flubs and all this, I think that's affecting him. And it's affecting these young people they don't like old people. So there's a whole trend with that. And they see him so feeble. Trump's 77, but he doesn't seem 77 or act 77. He seems like he's in his 50s. He's very sharp and very with it and together. He's full of energy. He doesn't miss a beat. And, I don't think people are hung up on the number as much, but when you put him next to Biden and you see the two of them together, my goodness, it's such a marked change in even the way they walk.
There's nothing good going on in the country right now under the current corrupt leadership.
No.
And Rachel Campos Duffy, who I'm a big fan of because I was a big fan of the Real World San Francisco.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, my goodness, I was such a fan. I shouldn't tell you guys. I've mentioned it before, but not for a long time. It's a little embarrassing. I was such a fan of the Real World San Francisco. I went to the funeral of Pedro Zamora, who was in that cast. He died of AIDS, and that's the funeral I went to with the son of Roddy McDowell from Planet of the Apes.
Right.
But
yes.
Rachel Campos, I did. It's true. He didn't have an ape mask on, but he looked just like Roddy McDowell. But anyway, Rachel Campos Duffy, she's speaking Spanish here because she speaks Spanish.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. And she goes up to these illegals that have entered the country, and the beginning part's in Spanish, but you can understand the rest in English. You just have to be able to understand Trump and Biden. And she asks these illegals, who's best for immigration, Trump or Biden? And listen to this. This is amazing.
¿Quién es mejor para el inmigrante ilegal? Donald Trump or Joe Biden?
Joe Biden.
Joe Biden. ¿Cuál es mejor, Trump or Joe Biden?
John Biden, de igual manera.
Joe Biden. Trump or Joe Biden?
John Biden.
Trump or Joe Biden?
John Biden.
Joe Biden. Trump or Joe Biden?
Es el Joe Biden.
Joe Biden. We're asking for Joe Biden to help us accomplish.
Oh my goodness! I mean, this is.
Look at this thing that got tweeted that you were just talking about.
Before we get to this is absolutely amazing, and this audio probably on the radio tomorrow. I might play that audio. I think I might play that audio coming out of every break on the radio show tomorrow with Rachel Campos Duffy there, and I'm sure President Trump, because he sees everything, has seen that. That sounds like a perfect campaign commercial.
Biden endorsed by Putin and illegals.
That's right.
That's who's endorsing Biden.
Exactly. And, right here, these guys she's talking to also, by the way, are young men, again, military age men.
I don't hear any women or children.
No. And I hope she's got security down there. What was it that this is exactly what I was talking
just
about.
What you're talking about.
So someone had just tweeted, I don't know who this is, but they tweeted, Paul Ryan is gone, Liz Cheney is gone, Mitt Romney is gone, Adam Kinzinger is gone, Kevin McCarthy is gone, Ronna McDaniel is gone, Mitch McConnell is gone.
Who's next?
Yeah, right. This is Donald Trump,
and they're all bitter. They're all bitter and angry and trying desperately. And though they forgot to mention Jeb Bush.
Yeah,
trying desperately to manipulate things behind the scenes, working with the Democrats. You see with Nikki Haley. Nikki Haley will be on this list soon too, and DeSantis. Nikki Haley is working with the Democrats, but she's in with the rhinos. They are working with the Democrats to try to beat Trump. That tells you everything you need to know. These are scummy people.
That's for sure.
They have no morals. I put in your if you guys after the show want to go to Brian's community page, I put a poll up there. And the poll is, do you think Nikki Haley will stay in after Super Tuesday or leave? It says, do you think Nikki will drop out after Super Tuesday? So we've had almost 200 votes so far. I just put the poll up. 73% said no, she will stay until the bitter end. 28% said she will definitely drop out. So what do you think? Do you think she's going to stay through
my guess will be, now this is not a prediction because this is weird territory. She should already be out. But my guess is she will stay in.
Yeah, because she is hoping, and this is all a plot by the rhinos. They're really hoping that Trump she's a puppet. Yeah. They're hoping that he gets convicted of something and thrown in jail. And the liberals are convinced. Well, liberals have been convinced of a lot of things that have never happened. They were convinced about the Russian dossier. They were convinced about Stormy Daniels. They were convinced about Michael Avenatti. Remember when they were gushing over him, saying he should run for president? I mean, give me a break, guys in jail.
The reason
they believe these fantasies because they want to believe them.
Well, the reason my guess is, it's not a prediction. A prediction is I think this will happen. This is just a guess because we don't know because we're in uncharted territory. Nikki Haley right now is being funded by the Democrats, okay?
Right.
And the Democrats like her out there trashing Trump. So that's why my guess would be she would hang in there. Now,
you know what, though, real quick, I want to say on that. She really doesn't trash Trump personally. Like, she holds back. Yeah. All she says is very vague things about his age. Yeah. And I want to give people a choice. And you know what I mean? I don't hear, she knows him. She knows Trump very well. She was the UN ambassador. They had many meetings, many private times together, I'm sure, many phone calls. I think she likes the guy, and I think she considers him a good guy. I haven't heard her personally attack him or tell any anecdotes about him that make him look bad. It's all just about the age thing, and it's very general stuff, and people need a choice, and Trump can't beat Biden, and just very vague general things. Yeah. So I don't know if that's because she has nothing really bad to say about him, or if she's afraid to go after him because she knows what he would do.
I don't think she knows him that well at all, and I don't think she, no, I don't think she had much private time with him. I don't think she had much interaction with President Trump.
She's going pretty light on him.
Because she has no anecdote. She has no story. I don't think she spent much time with him at all. I'm not saying she wasn't in the room with the man, but I think she was in the room with a bunch of other people and was insignificant.
I think she has nothing bad to say about him, and what she's saying is she's being told to say.
The big issue in this election, there's a lot of issues in this election, but it's the border. And I want to show this. This is the mayor of Athens, Georgia.
Mm-hmm. Dignity. While 2019 was not that long ago, you might remember the dynamic we were living in the late teens in this country, where you had President of the United States speaking in the most vile terms about people who were foreign born. And you had that notion metastasizing in places like Charlottesville.
This is an invasion!
Oh my goodness.
When I was younger, I was a criminal. And you know what I thought about doing? Crossing the border to Mexico to get away from my crimes!
Son, I'm going to ask you to leave.
Jesus Christ, he saved me, and I no longer live that lawless life.
The mayor wants to welcome the illegal invaders, but he wants to deport one of his constituents from the press conference.
Exactly.
Son, I'm going to ask you to leave.
Wow. Mr. Mayor.
I'd be glad to schedule some time with you if you'd like some individual time.
Yeah, I'd like to spend some time with you.
Let's do that, but I need to continue.
I got a question.
That'll never happen.
Sorry.
Are you going to rescind the resolution? Is that still in place? Does that give the impression this is a sector city? No, you can't call it that under Georgia law?
What we wish to do is dignify everybody's humanity. There's nothing in that resolution that creates...
the law! You took an oath to uphold the law, not your feelings nor your opinion.
Chief,
You No, sir. You're talking BS to us right now.
I need to answer one question at a time.
Right here, sir. Alex Kaplan.
I'm going to continue my answer from a moment ago, and then I'll get it.
You called me a white supremacist in your resolution.
Well,
that was not nice to me, was it?
We've had enough.
What we wish to do.
Speak. This is America still.
What we wish to do.
Okay. All right.
Is to understand.
Stop talking if you'll call upon me so I can ask a question.
Is to understand that those families that are here came here under less than ideal circumstances. I've outlined my desire for better federal legislation that would standardize the immigration process. We've not been living in that environment. I mentioned I was a career educator. I've worked with a lot of students and their families in this community. And the practical reality is that those families tend to be blended amongst a variety of immigration statuses. We want to create a stable environment for people in our communities. And when that community is disrupted by hate or vitriol, that's not a safe environment for their school children and their families to live in.
Called righteous indignation, sir.
Okay.
Wow. So he's saying that guy's not safe.
This is the mayor of Athens, Georgia. So he's more concerned about illegal.
Athens. It's a nice place.
This is the thing. Okay, the country is being invaded right now. The country is being invaded.
Yeah.
And for him to talk this way after the Georgia nursing student Laken Riley was murdered by this illegal from Venezuela, and there's been a lot of other severe crimes. There was a 14-year-old. A girl who was raped at knife point by an illegal. There was a 2-year-old baby murdered by an illegal in the news this week.
They don't care.
And this crime wave that's going on. In the Second World War, people came to this country illegally from Germany, and there were to cause mayhem, much less than what's going on here. And they caught 5 of them, and they caught them, and within 5 days, all 5 of them were tried, convicted, and executed. And I'm not suggesting the execution of illegals, but what I'm telling you is that this country is being invaded, and these liberal, bleeding heart, do-gooder lunatics like this, it doesn't surprise me, comes from the world of education. Some, liberal moron like this, they should recall this guy from office. I mean, this is disgraceful.
I think this guy's on somebody's payroll. They use humanity. Kindness and all this stuff. They hide behind that. This is about them getting something out of this.
Yeah,
Believe
exactly.
me, I promise you, this guy's getting something out of this. He is not doing this out of the kindness of his heart. Politicians are scum. All they care about is money and power, and that's how they are. And everybody has a price. And whatever it is, something's going on for this guy because they don't care about the people that put them in office. I see this over and over again now. They have people that come to their meetings. They don't care what you have to say. They don't want to listen to you. We had this happen at an HOA meeting. We went to one HOA meeting, and you had 5 people it was at a gymnasium at a school. There were 5 people on the stage, and they had hired police officers to be here. I'd never seen anything like this. I'd never been to an HOA meeting before. And there were about 150 people sitting in the audience that lived in our community. They were all pissed off, all complaining. And you know what? The minute you started to get up and talk and complain, they threatened to have you arrested.
Yeah.
They don't give a damn what you think. They have their own agenda, their own little scam going. And the only way to defeat people like this is to not let them be in office, to not elect them.
Well, guys
and
like
to
this,
put them out of office. That's the power you have is the vote.
See, guys like this, okay, let me tell you what goes on with a guy like this. He's not supporting this just because he's some liberal bleeding heart.
No.
See, at the local level, when illegals come into these communities, it's a lot of money for the local government. And just if you think corruption's bad in Washington, it's really worse at the local level. So the kids go to school. They use public facilities.
They get federal funding.
There's all kinds of money that comes into local governments.
That's right.
When the illegals come to town. And people that hold political office in these local communities, either they or their donors get paid.
That's why they're doing it.
Right?
That's why they're doing it.
Who gets the contract to house these people? Donors in the local community. So, that's what a lot of this is about. Now, I want to tell you, today I talked to one of Mike Lindell's assistants. And I want to pass along their thank you to you and this listening audience for your incredible support during these very difficult times for Mike Lindell. They have extended the free shipping offer. And I'm going to tell you, the free shipping offer is site-wide. It's on every item at MyPillow.com with our promo code Kane, of course, Kane. No matter how large or small the item, no matter how large or small the purchase, free shipping. Plus, you get the special discounted deal with our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. And Mike Lindell and his employees greatly appreciate your support. And when you use our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane, at MyPillow.com, you're also supporting all the content I'm connected to. The podcast, my YouTube channel, the radio show,
You know what I was
everything.
just thinking? Easter's coming up, and I just thought about those pillows with the Bible verses.
Oh, the children's Bible pillows.
I wish they had those when Emily was little. I definitely would have bought all of them. They're amazing. And I think that would make a really wonderful Easter present. I know people like to give Easter baskets for their kids, and that's fine. We did that too when Emily was little. But I think the religious pillows are great.
There's also Bible story blankets. And
I think that would be if you're trying to think of something religious, because Easter is about Jesus rising. It's not about bunnies and candy, and people lose sight of what the holiday's really about. And I think that's a really wonderful way to remind your children or grandchildren. You can send them to your grandchildren if you don't live with them. You can have it shipped to them to remind them what Easter is really all about. And every time they go to bed, they'll read those Bible verses and they'll lay down on that pillow. I think those things are so nice to have for the kids. I really do.
So it's promo code Kane at checkout, Kane, at MyPillow.com. And you get free shipping on everything site-wide at MyPillow.com with our promo code Kane. My name's Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. We're going to take a quick break and be right back.
In the new book from author Tom Withers, Enter a World Where Science Blurs the Line Between Human and Machine, Human Cure, available on Amazon. In Human Cure, meet Ted and Amy. They're brilliant scientists and divorce partners. They're racing against time to find a cure for cancer. As they navigate disastrous experiments in a belligerent partnership, their work and their hearts are tested in ways they've never imagined. They're thrown into a world where incredibly lifelike bots work alongside humans. They must overcome their personal and professional challenges to achieve their breakthrough. And when the stakes become personal for Amy, their quest takes on a whole new urgency. Human Cure is a sci-fi romance. It's also a story that explores the essence of humanity in an increasingly artificial world. Author Tom Withers dedicated Human Cure to his mother and for all those battling cancer. Proceeds from the book will be donated to cancer research. Human Cure from author Tom Withers. Available on Amazon in Kindle, paperback, hardcover, and Kindle Unlimited. Order your copy right now. Discover the heartbeat of Detroit with Damaged Friendships, a unique streetwear brand that goes beyond fashion. The pieces are more than just clothing. They're stories woven from the heart. Damaged Friendships believe in repairing broken bonds and creating pieces that resonate with your essence. Each garment carries the weight of a story worth sharing, and Damaged Friendships is here to help you articulate yours. Their passion is forged into every stitch, making each piece timeless. From hoodies to beanies, joggers to tees and shorts, explore the unique collection at damagedfriendships.com. Connect with them on Instagram at RealBDon and Damaged Friendships CO, and on TikTok at Damaged Friendships. At damagedfriendships.com, not only will you find incredible items for yourself, but the perfect gifts too. Embrace the story and start shopping at damagedfriendships.com with pieces created from the heart. How would you like to transform your living space? You can at Tuvrik.com. That's Tovrik. Tuvrik.com is your premier destination for quality living. They have a carefully curated selection of lifestyle essentials that are designed to elevate every aspect of your home. From chic decor to functional furniture, they have it all. Looking for that perfect touch for your kitchen? Maybe an elegant addition to your bathroom? No problem. Tuvrik.com has a huge selection of choices in home decor, kitchen essentials, and those bathroom accessories you've been searching for. You can illuminate your home with their lighting selection and discover the latest in home electronics and advanced tech. Their furniture collection blends style with comfort and can transform any room. And don't forget about your furry family members. Tuvrik.com's pet supplies cater to their needs with love and care. And if you're an outdoor enthusiast, check out their patio, lawn, and garden selections. With fast shipping, easy returns, and a commitment to customer satisfaction, Tuvrik.com ensures a seamless shopping experience. So what are you waiting for? Start shopping right now at Tuvrik.com. Tuvrik, and begin your journey towards a beautiful, functional, and more joyful living space. Tuvrik.com, your premier destination for quality living.
You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. You know, I just want to share this story. This is really just aggravates the crap out of me. The girl from The Sopranos, remember she got killed on The Sopranos?
Oh, Drea Di Matteo.
Yeah, Drea Di Matteo. I don't know if anybody knows. I can't even remember her name on Sopranos.
Yeah, she was killed by
well, Tony had
guy from Bruce Springsteen's band.
Yeah, Tony had her killed because she became an FBI informant. Right. And she got an OnlyFans thing going on a few weeks ago, and I just saw an interview with her this morning. I just wanted to mention this, as I don't want to get sidetracked into it. But she was talking about how great OnlyFans has been. She paid off her debt. She paid off her mortgage and everything. And, you know, OnlyFans, if you see OnlyFans, it's in the news a lot involving crime, right? Like murders and things with people involved in it. And what it's done is it's turned regular girls into porn stars and their husbands and boyfriends into porn producers. There was one story we talked about on the show last year where this poor girl, she was on OnlyFans and her husband was making her work like 20 hours a day on OnlyFans because so much money was coming in.
Sure.
And there's this, in Miami, there was the OnlyFans girl murdered a boyfriend. You seen this? And there's a bunch of other crimes. And for this Sopranos girl, I understand it. She probably, you know, the problem with her is she's not that great of an actress, right? She was basically playing herself on The Sopranos. And she's not good looking. She's not really got much to be an actress beyond Sopranos. And that wasn't those HBO shows for actors like her, they don't pay a lot of money. They're just meant as a launching pad to try to get you some work. So I understand she had debts and a mortgage, not a lot of acting work, and she was able to pay off all those things. But for her to go public, and really what she's doing is telling girls to become OnlyFans models.
Yeah, it's sad.
It you know, my goodness, you know, it's bad enough that women get involved in the sex industry because that's what it is. It's the sex industry. But when you have it glamorized like that,
you know, it's really, I think about this quite a bit because, you know, how things have devolved over the last 100 years. And I know in the 50s and stuff, women probably didn't have as many rights as they do now. And I appreciate that. I mean, even my mom, when she got a divorce from my father, got screwed in the divorce and everything because it was the 70s and probably be very different now. Same with your mother. So I understand women weren't treated as well. But what's the trade-off? Women 100 years ago, so we're talking the 20s, 30s, would have their lives compared to now and what these women do for money.
Oh, it's crazy.
It's insane to me. Back then, most women had a husband that took care of them. Now you have these young girls, they get kids. They don't even bother getting married anymore. They want to be independent. And I understand that. But it's just, it seems like women are devolving instead of evolving. I mean, what is the price of that independence? And believe me, I'm all for equal rights and all that stuff. But the way women have gone into these areas to make money
crazy
is not something to be proud of or brag about. It's shameful. And she should be embarrassed. But the way young people are now, it's like she thinks that's empowering. She thinks that's cool, that makes her, she's in charge of her own body and she's got power over people. And no, you're just a sex object. That's all you are. And it's disgusting. And I feel bad for her and all these other girls that feel they have to do this. And I just think society, if you look at it, has changed so much. And women's lib has had a lot to do with the role of women and where they are at now. And it's not always a good thing. I mean, it's great that women are doctors and lawyers and all this stuff. But look at the breakup of the family that's happened. And look how many children are born out of wedlock because of this. And look at now what girls are doing and how they expose themselves and for attention and for money. She's basically selling her body for money. I think it's awful.
Well, with the girls that you see in the news where there's all these tragedies and abuse and everything else, they're not the brightest bulbs, okay? So they have an option. They can work at the Old Navy. They could be a waitress at Bennigan's, if that's still around. They can get a job at McDonald's, or they could become an OnlyFans model and make like more money in a day than they could make in a year.
Or they could crack open a few books and try to better themselves.
That's how they view it. And this Sopranos actress, she's got to be like 50. Who wants to see her naked? She's not even good looking when she was young.
She's famous. That's why she's, Denise Richards is on OnlyFans. She's older than, she's like our age. She's like 53, 54. But the fame, I mean, I never thought that there'd be famous women on OnlyFans. It blows my mind that
doing pornography,
these actresses.
It used to be pornography was like you were done in the entertainment business.
Well, a lot of people, I've read a lot of like regular girls that do it, do not like these celebrities on there because I guess you got to pay for the access.
Yeah.
And you do like a subscription or something for content, and they don't like it because the men are spending their money on the famous women and not on the regular girls. So I don't know, but
it's weird that celebrities are doing it.
Yeah. That there's a lot of money in pornography and in sex working. Charlie Sheen's daughter does it.
Oh my goodness.
That's
with her mother.
And her mother does it. Can you imagine? I mean, this is the world we're living in. 100 years ago, a young woman would need a chaperone.
100 months ago.
To go around town and have some protection and have some morals. And any kind of behavior at all like that would be like, no, that's, women just have no morals anymore. It's just shocking me. And men never have morals, but women have always been the moral compass of society. And if you read like Jane Austen, of course, that was hundreds of years ago, but you know what I mean? Older books.
Yeah.
And you see how women had some standards about how they carried themselves and were the moral compass of the family and of society. And that's gone.
Completely.
I mean, men have never had morals, but I'm just kidding. But women really were supposed to hold up those things of family and all that. And I'm not saying all women are like that, but a lot of young women are embracing this, and I think
money,
she's not even that young. It's money. Money the root of all evil.
Is a drug.
The root of all evil, as the Bible says.
It's just a drug. Money is a drug, and that's the way it is. Now, of course, we've all been talking about Catherine Herridge was fired from CBS. She has been a Washington investigative journalist for a couple of decades. She used to be with Fox. She's been with CBS for many years. She's been doing some investigative work on Hunter and the Biden crimes. So, and you remember CBS fired her. They seized all of her materials, which everyone's saying is very unusual, including a list of all of her confidential sources. Now, they gave her the materials back, but they made copies of the sources, I'm sure. And the purpose of that was to get a list of her confidential sources so that the Bidens knew who to harass, who to intimidate, right? And this is nuts. Listen to this. The CBS News executive who signed off on the firing of Catherine Herridge, a respected – this is in the New York Post I'm reading from – a respected Washington correspondent who has been embroiled in a high-profile First Amendment case is nevertheless being honored with a free speech award next month. If I didn't read that well, because I stopped in the middle of it, the executive who fired Catherine Herridge is being awarded a free speech award, even though she's taken part with the administration and the deep state to get confidential sources from a reporter so that the president and his henchmen can harass the people that are, well, telling a reporter about the Biden crime. CBS News President Ingrid Matthews was selected by Radio Television Digital News Association to be among 13 honorees at the 33rd Annual First Amendment Awards at the Watergate Hotel in D.C. on March 9th. I mean, that's insane. And, you know, you look at what's going on with
the world we live in.
You look what's going on with the press. Catherine Herridge, what just happened. Tucker Carlson, there's been two things with Tucker Carlson. This guy was arrested and confessed that he was hired. I mean, he was arrested in Russia. He said he was hired by the Ukrainian intelligence directorate to assassinate Tucker Carlson in Moscow for his Putin interview. And then Tucker yesterday gave an interview to someone and said that he was told that if he did not ask tough questions of Putin, that he would be arrested here in the United States. You know, I mean, you see, there was an American journalist who was killed by Zelensky, put in prison over there and died in Ukraine for reporting things that Zelensky didn't like. Where's the press on this? Catherine Herridge, Tucker, you know, where are they? You know, the press are no longer the press. They are really just there to promote the agenda of the administration.
They're run by corporations. They're run by donors.
And the deep state.
They're advertisers. They read the teleprompter, and that's all they can do.
They're there to push an agenda. And
exactly.
These, you know, I was reading yesterday. I couldn't believe this.
I mean, I'm sure Biden is on the phone with the presidents of these companies.
And his henchmen. Yeah. You know, Don Lemon just settled his exit from CNN. They paid him over $25 million as a settlement to Don Lemon. I mean, I am so grossly underpaid, I must tell you guys. I mean, and I'm not kidding. I am. You know, but Don Lemon, I mean, they paid him $25 million to fire him.
Crazy.
Right?
He was going to sue. I'm sure he was going to threaten racism and this and that.
Whatever.
So they settled out of court.
They all are paid a lot of money. Like Brett Baer, you know, has a mansion that cost almost $40 million here in Palm Beach. The reason that they pay these people in media so much money is to control them. It's a deal they make with the devil. So they pay them much, much more, millions more than they're worth, to control them and to push agendas. Like Brett Baer, he can buy a $36 million house in Palm Beach.
Well, he's got to maintain that.
But he has to go to Ukraine and do a propagandist tour and sit down with Zelensky and do a propaganda interview to promote that war.
And I'm sure they hooked him up with, it's just like in The Firm. I'm sure they hook him up with a realtor that helps them buy a house and gets them in country clubs and all this stuff. And they live this huge fancy lifestyle. They're roped in. They got to maintain it. So they do what they got to do to keep it going.
You know, and I got to tell you, I work so hard for the money that I earn as a broadcaster. You guys, I know you guys know I work hard. But when I see how much money that some of these people are paid, I don't know what Brett Baer makes, but he's paid a lot if he can afford.
Look at how much these athletes make.
A $40 million house.
Well, a lot of people are overpaid that do hardly anything.
And, athletes are different, but these news media and Don Lemon was very lowly rated, and still he gets $25 million to leave. You know, I mean, it's really
Catherine Herridge is a very, very good reporter, and I think they hired her to keep her under control.
Well, they lost control.
I think they were afraid of what she would find. And now she obviously found something, and they didn't like it. And I think that firing came right from the White House. If you ask me. And but the reporters won't defend her. They're all afraid. You know, they don't want to end up like Carrie Lake, out of work. And I mean, I love Carrie Lake, but that's what they'd have to do. They'd have to quit and speak up about it. And they're too afraid to do it. They don't want to do that.
And I know a lot of you are thinking, well, she's going to be the senator. Carrie Lake didn't know she was going to be where she is when she left. You know, she left a very high-paying local news job.
How many of them do that?
And she did not know that was going to make her a big star, and she was going to have this.
Yeah, that wouldn't
future.
happen to everybody.
That was a big risk she took.
She's got that personality, but most people would just go away and and have nothing to do.
Oh yeah. Now I want to thank all our Patreon supporters for their support of the program. And if somebody wants to become a $25 million Patreon supporter like Don Lamont, glad to see it. I'm not going to turn it down. No, I'm just kidding, guys. But those of you that are Patreon supporters, thank you for your support. It is greatly appreciated. And those of you that are Patreon supporters, make sure you go to the Patreon page and take advantage of the exclusive content that Kathy and I post up there. Our top Patreon supporters get a live on-air thank you shout-out on each and every podcast episode. So these names are our top Patreon supporters. I want to thank Andrew and Connie, Christine, ETW, Chuck, D, Pamela, Rick, Nick, Wesley, Macho, Mike P, Carlos, Paulette, John, ActicFox, Heather, David, Maria in Texas, Richard, Alice, K-Mac, LeeZep, Shawna, Constance, and George. These are our top Patreon supporters. And if you would like to become a Patreon supporter, there's a link in the description of this and every episode. Before we break, because I'll forget this after the break, I just want to talk for a moment about Ron DeSantis. Ron DeSantis is still running a shadow campaign. And if you remember, he didn't end his campaign. He suspended his campaign. This Democrat, one of the Democrats suspended their campaign, Williamson, and she just reactivated it today, okay? When they suspend their campaigns, they can reactivate them at any time. It came out that DeSantis has been doing robocalls with donors and stuff.
Why?
Okay? I think he believes he might be able to be Nikki Haley's running mate.
I said that months ago.
You were right.
That he was going to try to be her running mate.
You were right. And he is not. He is still traveling the country doing kind of like a silent campaign, meeting with
They're scheming.
with people. He's working on something. And he's rarely in Florida. He's still traveling around the country doing all kinds of mayhem.
Well, you know, the liberals have put their hopes and dreams in so many things that have failed
in the Republicans
to try to bring down Trump. And now they're hoping and dreaming he's going to go to prison, and that's not going to work.
Yeah, keep dreaming.
It's all going to fall apart, and that's what they're holding on to. They got them waiting in the wings, like Gavin Newsom's waiting in the wings with Biden.
Yep.
Another dream Biden is not going to drop out. He's not going anywhere. They're stuck with him. So and the Republicans are stuck with Trump. He's not going anywhere.
That's right. Get used to it, guys.
Get used to it. Exactly.
Yeah. All right. We're going to take our last break. When we get back, there's a lot more to talk about. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. We'll be right back.
AI. It's what everyone's talking about. But when it comes to AI, where do you even begin? That's easy. AI Exploria. At AI Exploria, you'll find the largest collection of AI tools on the web. They have over 5,000 tools. Everything's organized in categories, including the 10 most popular AI tools by business, so you can find the AI tool that's best for you fast. AI Exploria is available on smartphones and tablets, and the platform is updated every day with the latest AI tools. And AI Exploria is absolutely free. That's right, free. Whether you're on the hunt for the latest AI tools or the most practical AI solutions for your business, AI Exploria have everything you need, and they're constantly updating the site. Start exploring the world of AI right now and join this community of forward thinkers and innovators online at AIExploria.com/EN. That's AIXPLORIA. AIExploria.com/EN and begin your AI adventure. AIExploria.com/EN, where your AI journey begins. AIExploria.com/EN. The nation was terrified. 4 Idaho college students brutally murdered. For weeks, there were no arrests, no suspects, and no murder weapon. From Pulitzer Prize-nominated investigative reporter Howard Bloom comes the definitive account of the tragedy that stunned America. When the Night Comes Falling, a requiem for the Idaho student murderers. In When the Night Comes Falling, author Howard Bloom will take you behind the scenes of the law enforcement manhunt that led to the arrest of Brian Christopher Kohlberger, with a narrative as suspenseful and intricate as classics like In Cold Blood and The Executioner's Song. You will not be able to put this book down until the very last page. Go behind the scenes of an investigation that challenged perceptions and uncovered dark truths. When the Night Comes Falling, a requiem for the Idaho student murderers, from author Howard Bloom, is available for pre-order today on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Target, Walmart, and all major booksellers. This book is perfect for book clubs. Order your copy right now. When the Night Comes Falling, from New York Times bestselling author Howard Bloom. Are you tired of the endless search for affordable contact lenses? Well, your search is over. Say hello to LoveMyContacts.com, where premium vision meets unbeatable prices. LoveMyContacts.com isn't just any contact lens retailer. Love My Contacts are powered by real optometrists and vision experts. Yes, that's right. Experts who know eyes and care about yours, ensuring you get the best fit from brands you trust, like AccuView, Bausch & Lomb, Alcon, and CooperVision. And guess what? With LoveMyContacts.com's easy subscription service, forget about running low on contacts ever again. Just set it, forget it, and let your lenses come to you. Don't have your prescription handy? No problem. LoveMyContacts.com will retrieve it from your doctor's office, making your experience as seamless as possible. They have the most popular contacts at the best prices too, like AccuView Oasis, the Infuse, and Dailies. It's time to experience the LoveMyContacts.com difference. Visit the site right now, LoveMyContacts.com, and step into a world where quality meets convenience at prices you'll love. LoveMyContacts.com.
You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. Okay, this is getting ready to come to a head. New York Attorney General, this is Letitia James, and I keep asking the question, can somebody please investigate her and find out how someone who's done nothing but work for government her whole life is worth $15 million? But New York Attorney General Letitia warns court Trump does not have enough cash to pay the fraud penalty. This is in Mediaite. New York Attorney General Letitia James warned the New York Appeals Court that President Donald Trump does not have enough cash to pay the $454 million fraud penalty. Now, I know what you're saying. Well, wait a minute. It's not $454 million. It's $355 million.
Right.
Well, there is a daily penalty. The total penalty increases $112,000 in interest every day Trump does not pay.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, this is a little excessive, don't you think?
So it's gone up another $100 million since the ruling.
Forget about it.
This
is, come on, guys.
The judgment by that corrupt judge was $355 million, and now he owes $454 million. That's $500 million.
How can this be allowed?
Yeah, I know. Today, the president asked the appeals court to hold the enforcement of the penalties by offering to post a $100 million bond until the full appeals process is complete. He's, this is,
outrageous.
Listen, everyone knows what that case is. It's totally fake. You know, what they're trying to do are many things. Okay, there's many things in play. But Donald Trump has like 5 or 6, maybe even more court cases going on in the lawfare. Each case has a legal team that is a large team of people. He's paying for all of that, right? Judge Engoron Trump said this, saw how much cash he had in the banks in New York, and he made the penalty that. They're trying to take all his cash so he can't pay his attorneys.
Right.
And also he funds his campaign too.
Exactly. Yeah.
And he can't fund his presidential campaign. this woman, Letitia James, and that judge need to be arrested.
Absolutely.
I mean, I have, when the Democrats were in the South, when the Democrats would acquit people who had killed black people, even though they were guilty and the evidence showed they were guilty, and they got away with that, you did not have television, you didn't have any internet or anything. Letitia James and Judge Engoron are the two most corrupt public officials in the history of this country, with a penalty of $500 million we got now. And they're doing it on television, live streaming on the internet. They're tweeting about it. I mean,
I wonder if that
this is
most
nuts.
Americans know this.
The 454 million. That's another 100 million. No,
and if they do, what do they think about it? I mean, I'm sure there's some hardcore Democrats who'll be like, he deserves it and this and that. But come on, there is that law in the Constitution. You cannot have excessive fines. I think this will get thrown out. He said he's going to pay $100 million bond.
He asked the appeals court to allow him to do that.
Right. But this accruing of this interest is insanity.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's just, that's been their scheme all along, to completely bankrupt him.
Mm-hmm.
And because they knew he was going to appeal it, and they knew he was going to fight this and challenge this. So they're tacking on these fees. It's going to end up becoming like $1 billion. I mean, it's just crazy.
It's $500 million almost now.
That's insane. Oh, yeah.
What's
he going to do you think? I mean, if he's got the whole system against him,
well,
what recourse does this poor guy have?
It depends on what the appeals court does and what kind of power they have, and if he can go to the Supreme Court.
Well, if it's another liberal, he's going to have to.
What's going to happen? I'll tell you what's going to happen. Letitia James is crazy. She thinks she's Rosa Parks, too, okay? That's why she went to court and stared at him. She was trying to stare for a historic photograph, like she's the girl staring on the bus, you know that thing. And what Letitia James is going to do is she's going to get an order to seize Trump Tower.
Well, yeah, that's what she wants, to seize his property.
Her plan is to go to Trump Tower and take it.
Yeah, and then who will own it?
The state. And then they'll auction it off.
Well, they need the money. They got.
No, I'm telling you, that's what their plan is, and that's what they'll probably do.
Because nobody's stopping them right now.
No one. And I'll tell you, who I'm most disgusted by? Really, I'm most disgusted. And this may seem off base to a lot of you.
The list is getting longer.
But the people that I'm most disgusted by are, and I know you guys out there will think that there's other people. There's a lot of people that are disgusting. Okay,
that's for sure.
But the people that I'm most disgusted by, and they're really behind this too, are the ex-presidents, right?
Yes.
The ex-presidents. I mean, I'm talking about Bush. I'm talking about Obama. I'm talking about President Clinton. Jimmy Carter's in hospice for a year. But the ex-presidents, if they were decent people, would stand up and say, "Come on."
They see,
but they're
Trump
behind this
as the devil. Like literally, they see him as the most evil person on the planet.
Yeah,
they don't understand why we love him. They absolutely think he is the devil incarnate, and they feel a moral obligation. That's how some people are. No ex-president's going to defend him, but these other people have their own personal agenda. To jam him up.
Yeah,
their own personal thing that they want at Letitia James.
Mm-hmm.
She's an ambitious woman. She's her sights set on something else. A nasty woman. And that's all she's thinking about is I'm going to nail this guy to the wall, and it's going to help my career.
She wants to be the governor of New York or something on the Supreme Court, or Attorney General of the United States.
But nobody's going to come. The only hope he has is if this goes to the Supreme Court and they hear his case. But we still haven't had a ruling yet on the Colorado thing.
No, and
that's still we haven't had that. They said that ruling was going to come down. It's been like 3 weeks now.
Now, this case in New York, the appeals court overruled Judge Engoron 4 times on this case,
which is crazy.
But we don't know how they're going to handle this. And
then I think they'll rule in his favor.
If she goes and sees, if she gets a court order to seize Trump Tower, she'll do it instantly, and she'll immediately start selling it off so that he has no hope of getting it back.
Awful. And
that's like the crown jewel of everything he's done is Trump Tower. It's an icon of the United States.
He would not be happy about that.
Well, I wouldn't either. No one who would be. I mean, this system is.
I mean, that's his home. He lives there? He has an apartment there, I think.
Yeah. This government is so corrupt. And Letitia James, I know there's a lot of corrupt public officials, okay, but they don't do it on television. And when they do it on television like she's doing it, that's corruption to a whole other level because they're fearless about it.
Well, she has made a lot of money. She's worth $15 million.
Yeah.
And she's got very, very powerful people behind her that are supporting her in more ways than one. And like I said, she has her own agenda, her own ambition. I'm sure they have sweetened the pot for her. And the more, she's got all kinds of reasons why this is happening for her. So yeah, we finally got the right book. I gave the first one to my mom, and this is the new one by Schweitzer.
I've got the new Peter Schweitzer book. It's called Blood Money, and then the subtitle is Why the Powerful Turn a Blind Eye While China Kills Americans. And I started reading this. I read the introduction.
Yeah, it just came out.
And the first chapter last night. And it was I was talking about this on the radio this morning. The first chapter is about what China's doing, how they're doing it with the fentanyl crisis, and how this plan came to be. It's very detailed. It was so disturbing. I couldn't even go on to the second chapter. I think I'm going to read this book one chapter a day because it was so upsetting.
This book is supposed to be his best book.
It is very good.
The most well-researched and documented of his books ever. And everybody should get this book. And we just got it. It was just, I ordered it a month ago, pre-ordered it. And I ordered the other book. I got the mistaken. So you read the first one because the covers are similar and they're both China. Yeah. So I gave that book to my mom, the first one. So get this one, Blood Money. And you've been telling me a little bit about what you've read. It's very interesting. The history of China and how they came about certain things that have happened in their history that brought them to how they're doing with us.
What the book is about is how, this war that China has against us and how they're accomplishing it. And, the re-election of President Trump, this is so important to understand. The old ways of thinking that this is Republican against Democrat, it's just not that way. This is an evil establishment against the people.
Yes.
And what we've realized with Trump is the Republican and Democrat party separation has always been fake. It's just like the WWF, the professional wrestlers, it's fake. They've always been working together. The Uniparty has always been together, at least in our lifetimes. And Donald Trump turned their world upside down, and they're all on the take by China. It's scary.
It is, and China is throwing the border into chaos for many reasons. One, to bankrupt us, destabilize the country, but it's also a big distraction from what their real plan is. And this whole book, just from what you've read, the introduction, how many Americans know?
The first chapter.
How many Americans know a lot about Asian history? Not many. I know a little bit because I took some courses in college when I studied art history, so I learned a little bit about Asian. I took an Arts of Asia class, but how many average Americans know anything about Chinese history?
China.
We learn about ancient Rome and ancient Egypt, but I never really learned about Chinese stuff.
The book's not about Chinese history; it's about how they're buying off our politicians.
No, but it gives you context.
But yeah,
a little bit.
China is trying to take over the world, and they have a plan to do it. And China is,
but some of their methods are steeped in their history.
China is on the verge of financial collapse.
Right.
They're incredibly overextended.
Yes,
and they're not in a good financial situation. It is possible to break China. And Donald Trump will know how to do it. One of the reasons they're being so aggressive against the United States is they know they have a limited time before they have a financial collapse. So they're trying to take us down before they have a fall, right? Now they got a lot of cash. They got a lot of things they're doing. But this book, it's Blood Money. It's Peter Schweitzer's new book. This is not a paid ad or anything. I just bought the book and I'm telling you about it. You got to get this book. There's an audiobook available too. I was telling Steve Kane he should get the audiobook and everyone's going to be talking about this book. And it is Peter. Everybody knows Peter Schweitzer.
Yeah, he's great.
He's probably Peter Schweitzer next to Tucker is probably because Tucker I think is the most trusted journalist in America, but Peter Schweitzer is the number 2 most trusted journalist in America, and number 3 would be James O'Keefe.
Yeah.
and those that 1, 2, and 3, they're pretty close. It's hard to pick, you know what I mean? So it's Tucker, Schweitzer, and then O'Keefe, and then Loomer. Those are the most trusted journalists.
I'd like to see Tucker write a book like this, like a really investigative, like Dinesh D'Souza does his films, which are excellent, and Peter Schweitzer. I'd really like to see Tucker do a really well-researched book exposing corruption and follow the money and all that kind of stuff, because he knows a lot, and I think he can tap into that and really expose even more than he is already. But maybe he's not interested in writing. He's just rather talk about it.
Well, listen, we're out of time for today, but we'll be back next time. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. We will talk to you next time.